like to first thank everybody for taking the time to be here today. I'd like to welcome you all here, ladies and gentlemen of the legislature, administrators, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I appreciate you taking the time to looking in to exactly why the budget was frozen. I can assure you that this budget was not frozen due to censorship issues of the First Amendment, or as acts within a personal vendetta, or against any writings of the Montclarion about the SGA, positive or negative. This issue is over the lack of compliance to policies and procedures set forth by the SGA for all organizations that fall under the umbrella of the SGA. That includes Class 1 organizations, Class 2 organizations, and Class 3 organizations. These organizations, when they become part of the SGA, they are not only obligated, but agree to follow these bylaws of the Constitution and the policies and procedures. I'd like to refer back to the liaison of former President Angelo Lilla. His liaison said, or Angelo said, through his liaison, that he signed everything in fall of 2006. And in my recollection, that includes a budget approval, a purchase requisition, a check, and I believe there's one other piece of legislation that needs to be with those other three pieces, a contract. Well, I have a copy of the contract that is dated January 19, 2007. And in fact, that is not 2006. Furthermore, the only person under SGA statutes, and if you refer to your packets, the only person who can sign a contract for an SGA organization is the SGA president. The copy of the contract that I have here has only the signature of Mr. Carl DeBree. Without all four pieces, all four documents, these services should be rendered null and void, which means that funds were illegally used. Furthermore, I also have another letter from the law firm dated February of 2007, also not 2006, showing that Mr. Anderson, the attorney, advised the Montclarion that the SGA president and treasurer could freeze a budget together for an organization disregarding policies. This is a copy of the documentation dated February 7, 2007. Furthermore, the payment record signed by Angelo Lilla is dated April 19, 2007. Well, you might question why it's dated April 19, 2007. Well, that was the time period in which the legislature was able to approve the money being spent. However, when we refer back to these documents, services were rendered in February of 2007 and January of 2007, respectively, without approval of the SGA legislature. So, as we see, these services were rendered 4 months before they were approved and before the payment was sent out. To sum it up, these services were purchased with disregard to financial policies of the SGA, which every organization agrees to follow. So, if we refer back to our packets, contracts must state the name of the organization being represented. Well, the purchase rec, which you don't have a copy of, but you may seek to see, and it will be at your regard, posts the organization receiving the funds for these services as the Student Government Association. Nowhere on that purchase rec does it say that these fees are for the Montclair, making the SGA co-client, if you will. In other words, the Montclarion was seeking this legal advice on behalf of the Student Government Association. Now, also on this contract should be the name of the organization being represented. And on this contract, it says, accepted and agreed, the Montclarion. Well, the Montclarion is not a separate entity. It's under the SGA. But nowhere on that contract does it say Student Government Association of Montclair State University. That contract should be deemed null and void. Furthermore, I'd like to reiterate the fact that the only person who can sign that contract is the SGA president, who in fact did not sign that document, which will be at your disposal if you so choose to take a look. Now, being that the Montclarion is an organization under the SGA, its records, according to the bylaws and statutes and policies, are to be open. They're all books, I'll read the quote for you. The books and records of all organizations are to be open to the inspection of the SGA at all times. They were spending the SGA's money, therefore their books and records should be available. That includes documentation to the attorney and from the attorney. Furthermore, being that we can conclude that funds were spent illegally due to the fact that all 4 pieces of documentation were not present. The contract was the one missing. Okay? All 4 of them were not present. And they sought services before it was approved by the SGA legislature that they legally spent funds. And furthermore, by not providing the SGA with documentation, as it states the SGA is entitled to, disregarded policies of the SGA. And the course of action for disregarding policies and illegally spending funds is that all funds of that organization will be frozen until action is taken by the legislature at the next meeting, which would be today. So, as you see, this was not a matter of censorship, nor was it a matter of the First Amendment. It was a matter of disregarding policies and procedures that as an organization under the SGA, you accept and are obligated to follow as an organization under the SGA. I'd like all the legislators to take that into consideration as this bill is voted on. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen of the media, ladies and gentlemen of the legislature, and administrators and friends. Thank you.